Welcome to Deep Cuff Channel. Secret weapon of the Ukrainian army began to inflict great damage on the Russian troops. Russian army remains the largest supply of weapons to the Ukrainian army. Clashes across Ukraine continue from where they left off. U.S. military may hand over its most advanced system to the Ukrainian army. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that victory will be achieved in 2023. Fearing the counterattacks of Ukraine, the Russian army began to take great measures. Blood pressure is high. According to the statement made by the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, the Ukrainian heroes carried out an operation in 26 regions under the control of Russian troops in the last 24 hours. While most of these attacks were concentrated in the Bakhmut and Avdiivka regions, the Russian army took action to respond to the attacks. Accordingly, the Russian army tried to carry out simultaneous operations in 16 regions under the control of the Ukrainian army. It is stated that the attack was supported by the Russian Air Force as well as the Russian missile and artillery units, and among the reports that the Ukrainian army successfully repelled all the attacks. Unsuccessful in these attacks, the Russian army began to flee to the rear of the front after the offensive launched by the Ukrainian army. As a result of its attacks, the Ukrainian army managed to destroy 430 soldiers, 3 tanks, 5 armored combat vehicles, and 5 tactical unmanned aerial vehicles. After the successful Ukrainian attacks, the head of the military administration of the Dnipropetrovsk region, Valentin Reznichenko, announced that Russian forces are trying to attack the Cherven-Ory-Horivka and Myrov regions. These two strategic areas in the Nikopol area were under fire by Russian artillery units. While there is no clear information about the losses in the region at the moment, the secret weapon of the Ukrainian army has started to be used at the front. Ukrainian Security Service announced that Ukrainian snipers carried out a historic operation at the front. While it is stated that the snipers participating in the attack neutralized 2 important Russian commanders, this is not the significance of the event. It is stated that the Ukrainian army used war bunnies to neutralize Russian commanders. These rabbits were specially trained by the Ukrainian army and were used for the first time in frontline operations. We have seen before that some fish species are used effectively in such operations. As a result of this operation carried out by Ukrainian snipers, it is claimed that the Russian army seized one of its most advanced systems. This system, which was captured from the helmets of Russian commanders, is a very advanced system called Spider, that is, Spider. Allegedly, this system is an early warning system for attacks or conflicts. Among those seized is the system's user manual in Russian. According to this user manual, this system has a critical importance in the communication and warning networks of the Russian army. Minutes after the seizure of this system, the Ukrainian army launched a massive offensive against the Russian troops. Zaporizhia Oblast Militopol Mayor Ivan Fedorov said that violent explosions occurred in an important command center and ammunition depot seized by the Russian army. It is also among the news that Russian air defense systems were activated after the explosions in the region. Ukrainian military has so far not made a statement about claiming responsibility for these attacks. However, it is interesting that the attacks took place after the Russian Spider system was taken over by the Ukrainian army. If the Ukrainian army carried out this attack, it may have used the Spider system and infiltrated the communication networks of the Russian troops. While these allegations continue, Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council Secretary Alexei Danilov said that they saw an example of Russia's next political move in the Korean Peninsula. According to Danilov's claims, Russia wants to take full control of the areas it has taken so far by creating a safe zone on the border between the two countries. In addition, the Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council Danilov noted once again that many indicators point to an escalation of combat operations in February, strategy most used by the Russian army to escalate the war. Belarus. Now there is a strong will to drag Belarus into an open conflict. Russian secret services are carrying out a number of provocations for this. According to the latest news in this context, it is stated that a group of 700 to 800 people serving in the Russian army has reached Belarus. We know that the Russian army sent nearly 2,000 soldiers to Belarus in 2023 alone. Recent increase in this number is a result of Vladimir Putin's war strategy. In this context, the USA decided to increase its aid to the Ukrainian army. As Ukrainian leaders push for victory over Russia next year, one of the country's top ambassadors said the plethora of new Western weapons heading to Ukraine will set an important precedent for expanding NATO's support for Kiev in 2023. Vadim Prystaiko, Ukraine's ambassador to the UK and former foreign minister, emphasized that the systems delivered to the Ukrainian army by all NATO allies, especially the USA, had a game-changer effect on the course of the war. This week Ukraine received commitments from the United States, France, and Germany to send large numbers of new armored infantry fighters to assist their defense forces. Germany also announced that it will send the Patriot surface-to-air missile platform, donated by the United States, to join the first Patriot system that Ukrainian operators are training. It also seems certain that additional HIMARS systems will be sent to Ukraine in the coming days, because the USA decided to send 2,500 HIMARS missiles to Ukraine. There is no official data on the number of missiles in the U.S. statement, but considering the information expressed by the Ukrainian army, we think that this amount of ammunition will be delivered to the Ukrainians. Large supply of ammunition stems from the U.S. thinking that Russia will launch an attack on Ukraine from Belarusian territory. Therefore, carrying out operational attacks can be extremely important for the armed forces of Ukraine. In this context, it is known that the Ukrainian army wants to seize the Crimean Peninsula in order to break the Russian resistance. According to Ben Hodges, the former European commander of the U.S. military, the Ukrainian army will have liberated the Crimean Peninsula before the end of 2023. Hodges thinks that if aid to the Ukrainian army continues at this level, the chances of the Russian army winning the war are very slim. Russia is currently trying to strengthen its defense forces in the Mariupol and Melitopol regions, which prevent the Ukrainian army from reaching the Crimean Peninsula. Also in recent weeks, Russia has strengthened its defensive fortifications in the central part of the Zaporizhia region in southern Ukraine, particularly between the towns of Vasilivka and Orikhiv. According to this information given by British intelligence, the Russian army fears that the Ukrainian army will launch a massive counterattack in this region. Russia believes that a counterattack launched by Ukraine in Zaporizhia will seriously affect the transport of the Russian land bridge connecting the Rostov region and Crimea. Blocking the transfers on the Crimean bridge will cause the Russian army to lose the war on the Crimean Peninsula. Victory to Ukraine. We will continue to monitor the world and especially Ukraine. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.